The yardstick by which politicians are usually graded is whether they meant well if they had lots of votes on a particular topic, or if they were good at reaching across the aisle. These are worthless methods of grading a politician dreamed up by politicians to justify their lack of real-world results. Brad Little doesn't have that problem. He has a long list of results that have brought real value to the citizens of Idaho. We should look for leaders that have real-world results, not just talking points. Starting with reducing taxes, some of the top results include working to bring meaningful tax cuts to the citizens of Idaho. The top tax rate in Idaho was 6.925% for married couples making over $22,558 in 2019 when Brad Little first became governor. The current tax rate in Idaho is now at a flat rate of 5.3%. This is a significant improvement. On abortion. In 2020, Governor Little signed Idaho's Defense of Life Act. This trigger law went into effect on August 25, 2022, after Roe v. Wade was overturned. Governor Little also signed into law a 6-week abortion ban, including civil penalties for abortionists in 2021. He was heavily criticized by the mainstream media, but stood strong for the protection of the unborn. As a result of Governor Little's strong stand for life, there are almost zero abortions in Idaho. In 2023, Governor Little signed into law 2 key bills. The first defines abstinence to prevent sex ed programs from claiming that any sex that can't get a girl pregnant is abstinence. The second makes it a crime to traffic a minor across state lines to procure an abortion. In 2024, he signed a bill prohibiting abortion providers from providing teaching materials related to abortion for schools. In 2025, he signed a bill that requires the teaching of human growth and development in public schools. By teaching this to students, the goal is to give them an understanding of the beauty and importance of life from conception. Also in 2024, Governor Little issued an executive order, Promoting Families and Protecting Children Act, focused on reducing barriers to adoption and improving the foster care system. Moving on to transgenderism. In 2020, Idaho became the first state in the nation to pass legislation banning boys from girls' sports. Governor Little signed that bill into law and was the one that took the slings and arrows from the mainstream media, the transgender activists, and the political left. Governor Little directed Idaho's Attorney General to defend the law in court and has continued to defend the law to this day. He also signed House Bill 509, which prohibits transgender people from obtaining a new birth certificate with their gender identity on it. Continuing on this theme, in 2024, Governor Little signed into law House Bill 668, which prohibited public funds from being used for gender transitions. Again, Governor Little took the slings and arrows from the mainstream media. In 2023, Governor Little signed into law House Bill 71 protecting children from puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, and mutilating surgery. He also signed Senate Bill 1100, which ensured bathrooms and locker rooms in public schools are segregated by biological sex only. His COVID response. During the COVID pandemic, Governor Little gave most of the control to the local jurisdictions, ensuring that governance was local. This was in stark contrast to many other governors who used COVID to impose draconian measures on their citizens. The number of people fleeing to Idaho from Washington, Oregon, and California during that time shows how much better Governor Little's response was compared to these 3 states. Unlike other states, Idaho had one election that used properly requested absentee ballots and then returned to normal day of election voting. Many states have lost the right to vote in person on Election Day, with COVID being the excuse for taking that right away. Governor Little also signed bills banning mask mandates, 2024, and the Health Freedom Act in 2025, on education. In 2025, Idaho passed House Bill 93, which created the Parental Choice Tax Credit Program, spending approximately $50 million. This created tax credits for private school tuition, homeschooling, or other educational expenses. This was a significant school choice victory. In 2024, Idaho passed Governor Little's Launch Grant Program. Idaho Launch is a state-funded grant program for Idaho high school seniors, starting with the class of 2026, that covers 80% of tuition and fees up to a maximum of $8,000 for post-secondary education or training in high-demand careers. It is designed to fund college, career technical training, or apprenticeship programs to prepare students for Idaho's workforce. In 2023, he signed House Bill 163, which increases parental rights in schools. Schools must notify parents of any changes to the mental health of their child, and it adds further protections, including parental rights to view any educational materials provided to their children. The bill also allows parents to legally hold the school district accountable if it fails to comply with Idaho's parental rights protections. Relating to election security. In 2023, Little signed bills into law preventing Zuckerbucks from Idaho elections and banning ranked choice voting. In 2024, he signed a bill banning ballot harvesting as well as bills banning electioneering at polling places and increasing penalties for tampering with voting machines. In 2025, Little signed House Bill 339, which codified an executive order to improve the accuracy of voter registration by reviewing registrations against the Departments of Health and Welfare, Transportation, and Corrections, as well as U.S. Social Security numbers. Cutting red tape. In 2019 and 2020, Governor Little issued orders to cut red tape, including the Licensing Freedom Act of 2019, EO 2019-01, and the Zero-Based Regulation Initiative on immigration and drug trafficking. In 2024, Governor Little issued an executive order formally establishing Operation Esto Perpetua to combat drugs and human trafficking. He followed it up with another executive order in 2025 with the Border Security and Immigration Enforcement Act, ensuring state agency compliance with federal immigration laws. Governor Little has repeatedly sent the Idaho National Guard to the southern border to assist the federal government with immigration enforcement. In 2025, Governor Little signed House Bill 83, which is an immigration enforcement bill supporting federal border security efforts and reducing illegal crossings. To further protect Idahoans, Governor Little signed House Bill 173, which prohibits foreign governments from buying up Idaho's land. The bottom line: Governor Little's results speak for themselves. They speak loudly of his conservative values and his willingness to stand for them when the media and political left are constantly on the attack. The evidence is clear. His record is stellar. Vote for Brad Little on May 19th.